Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Have you ever wondered what the world would look like through someone else's eyes, or when creativity refuses to be automated? Hi, everybody. I'm Maria Gallucci, and I'm the host of That's What She Said. My guest today knows all about that perspective. Alison McBain is an award-winning author, editor, ghostwriter, and entrepreneur, and a mom who works close with different genres, cultures, and some really interesting conversations about diversity, creativity, and artificial intelligence. Welcome to That's What She Said. Alison, I'm so happy that you're here.
Hey, Maria, glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course, thank you. So diversity was actually the first thing that you had on there that you wanted to talk about, which I'm very close with. And so we're both members of a diverse community and an advocate for others. And so what does diversity mean to you personally?
I think diversity is basically however you define yourself. So I myself am half Japanese, and I'm also a dual citizen of both the US and Canada. So a lot of my life I've been sort of living in between two worlds. And so how I define myself was a bit of here, a bit of there. And so for me, it is basically about culture. It's about identity, how you want to define yourself. And I feel like you and I are sort of on the same page on this.
We are.
Yeah, we've been in between two worlds and, trying to find our way. So I think identity and how you define yourself is a big part of it.
Exactly. And I think I can relate to that so much because I'm a CODA, which is a child of deaf adults. So I actually live between two worlds, the deaf and hard of hearing world and the hearing world. And so it taught me that inclusion isn't just about inviting someone into the room. It's about making sure that they actually participate in once they're there and not leaving them out. Did you think that we've gotten better at diversity, but still, I know we still have a lot of work, but do you think we've gotten better at making people belong?
Oh, 100%. There are different cycles, I would say, of it. So one thing that I very much enjoyed, throughout my lifetime is sort of the celebration of more diverse stories. It's not just the single white male, narrative anymore, but, women have been invited in, people from different cultures, from people from different backgrounds and different abilities. So we're really celebrating, especially in art, in literature, in music, in various creative arts, pretty much. We're celebrating people from all walks of life so that the next generation hopefully will be able to see themselves in the creative arts. That was one thing that inspired me when I was a kid, seeing diverse stories and thinking, hey, I can do this too. I can be an author and tell these stories too, tell stories from my perspective. And I'm hoping that this is something that, those of us who are moms and leading the creative charge, I guess, hopefully we're inspiring the next generation too.
I love that. Does that inspire you to write the characters? Like, do they come from different backgrounds from your own when you write your characters?
Oh, definitely. I love to include, not just my own culture, but very respectfully other people's cultures as well. I think one topic of conversation that has been in the publishing world is how do you write cultures that are not your own? And this is something that people from all walks of life struggle
Mhm.
with. So it is, you do your research, you do it respectfully, you get feedback from people who are part of that culture or that background, and you are open to feedback. I think that's the big thing. Being aware that, if you're coming at this from a different perspective, that might not be the perspective that is represented. So making sure that you do everything respectfully with lots of research and take your time.
I agree. Where do you think the line is between being an authentic writer and people who are different from us and are trying to tell somebody else's story for them?
I mean, there's a fine line, like cultural
Mhm.
appropriation is generally the phrase that is kicked around for that. Um, but I think it does tie back to what I was saying. It's about respect. It's about making sure
Mhm.
you're telling a story that incorporates parts of you, and parts of the cultures that you're trying to represent. So there might be some that are not appropriate to take, and I think also profit is is part of it. So like if you are co-opting a culture to exclusively profit at the expense of that culture, that is cultural appropriation. Whereas if you're trying to celebrate and bring more awareness, that can be hand in hand complementary, path that you're walking.
Yeah, I agree because I feel like the one of the biggest things that I've learned is that you don't have to be you don't have to completely understand someone's experience or who they are to respect it. And so I think sometimes inclusion starts with being willing to say, "Tell me more," and let me understand, and just accepting them. What is one thing that you wish people would do more of when it comes to supporting diversity?
Well, the biggest thing, especially in the creative arts, is to support it with your pocketbook, I would say. um, so that helps, like that, and also, verbally on social media. But to really seek out, there's a lot of resources these days. For example, We Need Diverse Books is a resource. So if you're interested in learning more about cultures that aren't your own, going to, organization like We Need Diverse Books, you will have lists and lists of books to choose from authors who come from all different backgrounds and tell all different stories. So really, if you're interested in something, seek it out. There are a lot of resources to help you find it.
100%. I know that you've written two recent books. What are they? And can you tell us a little more about it? And do you have it with you so you can show a picture?
Yeah, definitely. So my first one is called Between North and Pryor. It's a novella, so it's pretty short, you can see, and it's a story about a mom and her daughter, and it's sad. I've actually, it just came out in July, and I've had a number of people who have read it and said, "Man, I cried during this book." I was like, "Okay, job accomplished," and I'm sorry. But basically, it's about a mom who loses her daughter at 11 years old to cancer. And what happens is her daughter comes back actually as a spirit, as a ghost. And so it's really about her navigating this journey of grief, this journey about love. Through a new medium, through a new relationship with her daughter, and what that means to her, what that means to both of them. So it was a very interesting story to read. I cried too when I was writing it. Like, it's a very sad story. As a mom, like it is really something that you always fear, like that you will lose one of your children. So it's something that was very near and dear to me.
Oh, that's awesome. And that actually reminds me because I was reading my book, and of course I wrote it, and I went through the editing process, which takes like forever. So you reread it, and so I was reading on it on the plane, and I like started crying, and I'm like, wait, am I supposed to cry in my own book?
Yes,
But
I mean, because if you feel that emotion, then your readers will too. That is key, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I lost my mom when I was younger, and I was the one because ASL is our first language, and my mom was deaf, and I was the one who had to tell her that she had 1 to 3 months to live, so I can relate to stories like that. Do you think that has anyone ever told you something that you said right away, like don't put that in your book?
Um, that putting in a book.
Yeah, like has it like I know when I was going through the editing process, I was they were like don't put that in there, and I was thinking,
Oh,
well, why?
um, I guess some people have said about previous books of mine, not this one. Um, you have to do this. Like you have to put a specific type of character, or tell a voice or tell a story from a particular type of voice. So I have had that feedback over different stories, different books. Um, but while I listen to the advice and I consider it, I think that any author will understand their own voice once they find it. And so, advice is just advice, and it can be helpful, but sometimes it is not the right fit for your work. And so that's, the advice that I give to any author, especially when I'm working with them as an editor, is, I can tell you from my viewpoint, from my experience, but in the end, it's your work, and you get to decide what you put in there and what you don't put in there. So yeah, I always say, believe in yourself more than anything else.
Exactly. Were you ever editing anything and thought, oh gosh, where do I even begin?
Oh, all the time.
That's how I felt like during my book. I'm like, I don't even know where to even start.
Yeah, I mean, it can be daunting because, as an editor, you're taking someone else's story, whether it's fiction or nonfiction or poetry. I just edited a poetry collection that was very near and dear to the author, and making sure that you're helping it shine, because it's not your voice, it's not your work,
Mhm.
but you want to make sure that their message comes through loud and clear. So I feel like that, I guess, about every work that I edit. I always approach it and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is such a big task. Where do I begin? But then you just dive in, and you are invited into that author's world, which I think is such a privilege, to really be able to become a part of their world for a brief moment, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a type of genre that you love the best to edit?
No, I actually love all of them. And I
You love all
actually,
of them?
yeah, I write in all genres too, and I read in all genres. And I think it's just because I love the story. I think there's a good story to be found anywhere, whether it's nonfiction, whether it's fiction, whatever medium the author chooses to tell. So I really love editing all genres. There are some that are much more difficult. I think literary is probably really hard, not because I'm not familiar with it, but because a lot of times literary works have multiple layers to it. And making sure that not only do you see all of those layers, but that you make sure for the author that all of those layers are clear to their future readers, that can sometimes be a very hard task. So those are the manuscripts I think that I read and then reread and then reread and make sure everything is, all my comments are relevant before I send it off to the author.
What do you feel like the hardest part for an author to hear is like that part isn't working, or you have to cut out the entire chapter?
um, those are both hard choices.
Both.
Yeah, I think both. Like, and it depends on the author. Like, I like to sort of joke that it's sort of like a marriage. Like, it's a or maybe it's like more like a date, because it's not like a necessarily each book is a new date. But yeah, it's seeing what is working for the work itself. So sometimes the date goes well, and sometimes there's a bit of miscommunication. But in the end, hopefully you leave with a hug. I don't know. I guess my
Exactly.
metaphor sort of went off track.
Right. Well, I remember that. I remember learning that once you're putting your hard work into it and you're putting it into someone else's hand, like I feel like you develop a little bit of thick skin, or need to, because suddenly somebody else is commenting on something that you actually is very personal to your own self. So how do you think you can help writers separate criticism from criticizing like their own selves and taking it personal?
It's really hard. I usually start out with a disclaimer when I'm working with someone, this is just my opinion, it might not fit, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but yeah, it's hard, especially for new authors, I think, because they haven't had that experience with separating themselves from their work. They haven't had that experience of working with an editor. So sometimes it can be a bit of a rocky start when, it's very personal to the writer, and working with an editor who's looking at it as sort of an overall whole and how to improve it. Um, there's the phrase "kill your darlings." I don't know if you've heard of that.
I have not heard
But
of that.
oh, okay. So this is more for fiction than nonfiction. So kill your darlings basically means like you might really love something in your manuscript, but you might have to get rid of it. So you have to kill your darlings in the work.
I love that. I've never heard of that.
So I mean, it's something that every author has to learn if they want to continue writing. But yeah, you do develop after being an author, being an editor, etc. You do develop a tougher skin, I think, when it comes to seeing the work as objectively separate from yourself.
I think so too. And I feel like when people like give you, if they gave you bad feedback, I think it's so easy to take it personal when we shouldn't, because they're actually just like giving their own opinion for it. Because I know when I was doing the book cover and everything, and my son actually did the book cover, and it's actually
Oh,
him in the
nice.
cover. Yeah, that's actually Rian. Yeah, that's him. So he did
Oh, I love it.
the whole book cover, and so, and it actually has meaning to it. And so when I sent it off to the publishing company, they said that they've never ever accepted anybody, because they said authors always want to submit their own covers, and they said that they've never accepted a cover, and this one was the first one they accepted. But one of the people in there didn't like it at all and said that they thought it was like a fantasy cover. I'm like, no,
Oh
it
my
actually
goodness, I
says
love this
death.
cover.
It's
And
like,
do you mind if I hold it up? I have
oh yeah, of
actually
course. Oh,
picked up
thank you so
Maria's
much.
book and I've been reading it. I love this cover. This cover is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
And so
yeah,
it's sort of like it has meaning, but I'm like, okay, but it's hard to take it personal. Do you think that there's a difference between a nonfiction book and a fiction book cover? Or do you think they're all, it's just what the book is about?
well, definitely. The cover should 100% advertise what's in the book. So there are certain conventions, and I say this because I also do cover design. This is
Oh,
one thing that I
perfect.
love. Yeah. So I do design a lot of my own covers, and I have found publishers who are happy to, work with authors on their covers if they have some experience. Obviously, like, some authors might be like, I'm going to design my own cover. I've never done it before, but let's give it a try, which might not help their book. And I think that's what publishers are looking at, because publishers wanted the same thing as authors. They want to sell as many books as possible, right, and reach as many readers as possible. So yeah, but sometimes it can be a good partnership to work with your publisher and find a common ground with the cover, because the cover is basically the first
I was just
snapshot
going to
that
say, it's the
yeah
first
and
thing that
off
you see. Like the
yeah,
cover is like the
exactly.
first thing that you see. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and then I'll come back because I have some questions to ask you about being a mom.
Some people sell homes. Maria Gallucci helps people find connection, confidence, and a place to belong. As the broker-owner of Gallucci Homes and a Colorado real estate.
Oh, I think it ended early.
Some people sell homes. Maria Gallucci helps people find connection, confidence, and a place to belong. As the broker-owner of Gallucci Homes and a Colorado real estate. Some people sell homes. Maria Gallucci helps people find connection, confidence, and a place to belong. As the broker-owner.
I'm going to unmute you. Okay. Are you unmuted?
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
unmuted.
Yeah.
I have one more follow-up before we talk about being a mom. And because you're an editor and a ghostwriter too, right? So tell us about that. Because you do editing, the covers, and ghostwriting.
Yeah, so part of the reason why I wear so many hats is because I actually own my own small press. So there's a
Oh,
lot of
that's
times when I
awesome.
yeah, when I have to do all the jobs. But ghostwriting is something that I sort of fell into, and that was through my editing. And so one client I was working with, I sent them the edits that I had been working on, and they said, "This is great. I don't know how to do this. Can you please help me?" So I was like, sure, you know what? I've never done it before. Let me dive in. We'll do a collaboration. And so that's sort of how it started. But I've worked with publishers, I've worked with authors, and for people who don't know what ghostwriting is, essentially it's another author steps in to help a book to completion, and whether that is finishing writing a draft in the author's voice, or starting from scratch and helping out with a series of books that an author is contracted to write. Um, it's basically, taking on the mantle of that author under their name and helping them finish whatever book they're working on.
Is it hard to write in someone else's voice?
Um, I don't find it hard. I find it fun, actually.
Yeah, that's how I was running. It would be fun for you too.
Because I get to get out of my own head, so I get to travel to someone else's world, and really do stuff. It's almost freeing in some ways. So I've had some fun writing different stories and trying out different storylines that maybe I wouldn't have used in my own work. I don't know. But yeah, it can be a lot of fun. Is it work? Is it sometimes I'm like, happy to go back to writing my own stuff? Of course. But it also, I think, has expanded my boundaries a lot in terms of writing.
And that comes to my mom question and career. So you're a mom and you have a full-time career and you run your own business and you write, you edit, and you do all of that stuff. So how do you actually do all of it? Like, how do you balance between it?
Sometimes it's a juggling act. I won't lie. But yeah, all my kids are getting older now, and all of them are creative, and I'm so thankful that this is
Mine
something that,
too.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
do together. Isn't it fun?
Yeah.
So like my oldest actually has one more year left of school and then is going away to college. And when they chose an art college, I was like, yes, that's awesome. Go to an art college. Like, I mean, a lot of other parents would be like, oh, why aren't you being a lawyer or a doctor,
Mm.
whatever. But no, I'm so encouraging of all of their pursuits. I'm so happy that all of them love to, read, love to draw, love to do artwork. It's fabulous. My middle one is learning guitar. My youngest is learning piano. They just love everything, So I am 100% encouraging of that, and it means that we can create together too. So
No, 100%,
yeah.
because my son does cosplay. So he makes all of his own costumes. He makes his wig, his makeup. He makes like the fashion stuff. So then when he graduated early, he was going to go and be an anesthesiologist. And then realized, because he's so creative, and then he realized, like, I don't think I belong in like that type of world. I'm like, you need to go to LA or Hollywood. But it's so hard for us as moms, I think, to guide the kids. But I think now he's finally realizing, oh, I actually do have some creative side to me.
Nice. Yeah, my two oldest love cosplay. So like, there's a anime, comic, etc. convention coming to our neck of the woods that we're going to next month, and I'm so excited. They're like planning their costumes now.
Yeah, that's what Rian does. And we just got back from the Anime New York. So we go to like
Nice.
LA, New York, and Vegas, and then we actually went to the Calgary one because you're in Canada. I don't know how close you are to that one, but that one was
Oh yeah,
really
just a
cool.
few hours away. Yeah,
Oh
totally.
yeah, that one was nice. It was so LGBTQ friendly. Obviously, my son is in that community, and they had like the rainbow sidewalks. Like it was, I loved Calgary. It was so cute.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, I go all the time to Calgary. There's a lot of literary conventions there too. Yeah, it's a fabulous city for sure.
Do they help you be creative with your covers when you're picking your own covers or designing others?
Not so much. They're more like, okay, mom's working, that's fine. Where they have helped me, and they know this, is when I was writing for a project I was doing, I was writing some YA books. And so I was like, okay, guys, I need to grill you about what's going on with the teenager today. They're like, oh, mom, okay, fine, we'll talk. So they let me interview them and let me like, explore their concerns and things they've seen, and I got to put that all in my books. So yeah, they're helpful. Sometimes under duress because they are still teens and I am still their mom.
Yeah, exactly. Do the kids actually think what you do is impressive, or they're like, whatever, mom?
It's old hat. Like this is something that like I'm their mom first, and so like what I do is just sort of an extension of that. So while they love books and they will fangirl over other authors that they meet, like, oh my goodness, I love this author. I'm like, well, your mom's not. Oh yeah, mom, you're an author, whatever. So
That's
yeah,
so
no, I mean,
funny.
we're moms first, right?
Yeah, I know, exactly. And you have a second book too, right? Because I saw that you put what's the other book about? Because
Oh
we were
yeah,
talking about the
definitely.
first one, yeah.
So my second book, because I write in all genres, the first one was literary paranormal. This one is a science fiction collection. It's called Diving into Nebulae, and it's a collection of short stories. And some of them have won awards, some of them are completely brand new. But I love stories. I love stories in any form, and this was a really fun one to work on, especially because I like to say I have my own personal artist. He's a friend of mine, and he actually did the cover for me. He did the cover
Oh, I love
artwork.
that cover. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's already said, okay, when's your next short story collection coming out? Because he did the cover for my first short story collection. He did this one, and now he's like, okay, I have all this artwork. When are we doing another cover together? So I love him to bits. He's great. He's Canadian also, and yeah, fabulous to have your own personal artist just waiting in the wings. Happy to give voice to what you're writing.
Okay, so let's get into the topic that might get us in trouble, AI. So
Oh
you,
no.
you specifically wanted to talk about AI like affecting like creativity. And so as someone who makes your living through like your own creativity, what's your relationship with AI?
I basically like to educate other authors about it. I do have a lot of experience. So I did a project a couple years ago called Author versus AI, where I wrote a whole bunch of books using no AI at all. And basically that was to draw attention to the fact that this new technology at the time was creeping into the creative sphere. And since then, the more we all find out about it, the more I am opposed to having it in the creative world. And a lot of readers are also opposed to it. Small press publishers are updating their guidelines to say no AI writing. So there's definitely been a lot of pushback against it in the creative realm, just because we're all people and we like to read other people's stories. We're not in it to really read something that was created by a program. So I think there's definitely a lot of people who do use it. And that is definitely something that they are welcome to do. But I think a lot more creatives are saying this is not for me.
Exactly. Where do you think AI becomes a tool versus when it's crossing the line?
Well, I know writers who use it for sort of the background work, the work that
Mhm.
none of us find super fun, like marketing, writing posts,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, like, some of them use it for that. Some of it use it for editing, although I do caution because there are a number of presses nowadays who are saying even if you use it just for editing, we don't want to see your work. So, just be cautious is my advice to anyone who is using it in any aspect of their writing. Make sure you read the submission guidelines and make sure that it doesn't exclude your work then because of it.
What do you think happens to like writers, editors, or ghostwriter when someone thinks, why should I pay a person that when AI can write this for me in 30 seconds? To me, I think it takes out the personal touch and the things that's, I'm not for it, but
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are using it for that. Like there was a couple months ago, I think there was a New York Times feature that talked about a romance uh, author who was just using it to pump out book after book. I think something like 200 books a year, and was making a living at it. So there will always be people who do use it in greater or lesser extents. But again, I think it's not something that readers really want to see. There's been also legal pushback. For example, the EU recently has said if you use it, you got to label it or else you will get a financial fine, right? So it's something that, if people are using it, they should declare it. If they aren't using it, that's also something that you can put on. There are, human created stickers that people are now putting on their book. So it's territory that we're all navigating right now. It's new.
Exactly.
We don't know what's going to be down the road, 5 years, 10 years. So it's something that we're all navigating.
And I think about with like my book, because when you do AI, it's missing something that makes you feel something. And so with my book, it'd be hard to do that because no one would know my childhood and the fact that I'm a CODA or an ASL and that I knew it but before English. So I think that adult situations at a very young age, but knowing the facts and like AI can't do that. So then I think that I've lived like the experience where technology couldn't really duplicate because ASL was my first language. So I think one thing that we don't need these, but they're like a good conversation starter for other people, because I know there's a lot of controversy for it. How has becoming an author changed the way you see people?
I think I was always a writer. So,
Because you're little.
yeah, since I was little, I've always been writing, and I like to joke around it. And my parents are very supportive, but as I always joke that like I was telling stories when it got me into trouble way back when. But now actually people like to read the stories. So I don't think it's changed. I think I've always been an observer, and I think part of that is feeling that from an outside perspective because of that, what we were started talking about being part of that dual heritage, I guess. So I always observe people, and it translated very easily into being a writer and writing about characters, writing about other people. So I feel like it's sort of been a lifelong thing for me.
Like journey, yeah, exactly. Especially like when you're like knowing what you want to be, what you want to do as a child, and being able to do it. Okay, so we've talked about diversity, motherhood, and careers. So we're going to do something fun to lighten up. So I'm going to ask you a couple fast questions. Okay, so writing or editing?
Writing. For
Paper
sure.
book or Kindle?
Oh, paper book. I love
Me
the
too.
feel
I
of
have to
something.
have. Me too. I have to have it in my hand. So are you a morning writer or a night owl?
Oh my goodness. I'd say it depends. Like I feel like sometimes better in the morning nowadays, but sometimes inspiration strikes at night and I'll go for it.
Exactly. Do you plot everything or figure it out as you go?
Oh, plot. Yes. It's really hard to do it as a career and not have that organization.
Do you write? This is my own question. Do you write your things like on a piece of paper, or do you put them in like a note, or do you type it? Like how do you actually write your ideas before you put it into a book?
Um, it
And is
depends.
there
So like I
advice
do
for
have
that? Yeah.
I do have a lot of forms that I like, templates that I use. So I have a chapter by chapter outline template, I have character sketch templates. So all of that's on my computer. But yeah, sometimes when I'm just taking notes, I'll write longhand because, tying back to that mom thing, sometimes I'm at a lesson for one of my kids and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a bit of work, and I have my notebook. As a writer, I feel like any writer always carries a notebook around with them no matter what.
That's so funny. What would one word that your kids would describe you as?
Is creative?
Yeah,
How
there
about
you go. See?
okay.
So both of my kids are very creative, and I'm like, you guys didn't get for me because I don't have like the art like eye or the art creative. So I've always wondered if it's good, like is hereditary, or how kids get it if one parent is not.
I don't know. I feel like they find their own way, really.
Yeah.
And I think you are super creative, like just from the stories that I've read in your book, and the fact that you're doing this, hosting this fabulous show, you're definitely creative. So yeah, I would encourage that. Like,
I guess for me,
yeah, I am a creative.
Exactly. I guess for me, when I think of creative, I think of art. Like I think of like the cosplay, the music, things like that. But I guess you're right. Like even writing and doing all that stuff is creative.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. Thank you. So if somebody finishes your books and what walks away with what do you want them to walk away with on all of your books? I know you do different genres, but for the conversation today, what do you want people to walk away with?
I hoped that I write books that linger. So I'm hoping to inspire future generations who pick up one of my stories and are inspired maybe to take up the pen themselves, or inspired to seek out someone from a different background, or explore cultures or history that they didn't know about. So I'm a lifelong learner, and I hope others will also be lifelong learners, and that they learn something new from what I've written.
I love that. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you, where can they go?
The best place, because I'm on a lot of socials, but the best place where everything is concentrated is my website, which is AlisonMcBain.com. And I always like to say that's Alison with one L, otherwise you will go nowhere.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's true. It's spelled a little different.
Yeah.
Alison, thank you so much for being here. I loved our conversation because it started out with diversity, which is close to my heart, because you and I have a lot in common. And I loved giving everybody a different perspective. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks. Can I practice something that I learned from your book?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can do it right.
Nice to meet you.
That means nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here on the episode of That's What She Said. That was a great conversation with Alison. Get a hold of her, get her books, and contact her if you need any advice or writing things. You can get a hold of me at galluccihomes.com. And my book is Raised in Silence, and it's on all book platforms, Amazon, and also has its own website, which is raisedinsilence.com. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.